Welcome back to Viewpoint. I'm Jim Zogby. My next guest is Hagit Ofran. She's Director of Settlement Watch Project of the Israeli Peace Now organization, widely recognized as expert on West Bank and East Jerusalem settlements. In her role in Peace Now, she's responsible for monitoring, analyzing construction, planning, and other settlement-related developments in the occupied territories. And we use your work a lot. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Was President Obama right or wrong to make the settlement issue sort of initially the make it or break it question as he confronted the government of Israel?
If we want really to move forward with some kind of a peace process, we must stop the settlements. Mm-hmm. It's something that you cannot go together to have peace process and settlements expansion together. I mean, the message that the Palestinians will get from it is that Israel is not serious about going out of the territories and making two-state solution if we continue to build. So it's inevitable. It's a basic.
Did they then make a mistake in getting sucked into negotiations on the terms of a settlement freeze?
I cannot. I mean, I don't want to give any say it was good or bad. Yeah. I just want to look on what happened, and I think although it's still very hard, and we're still not there, but tremendous change in the atmosphere was achieved. And to some extent, I mean, I would expect Prime Minister Netanyahu and his right-wing government to be much more crazy than what we see today. Not that I voted for him or not that I support what he's doing. However, in some areas and in some stuff, you know, my example would be that he has most of his opposition coming from the right wing. Although he is the right wing and the pro-settlers, etc., the settlers are fighting against him because they realize that there is going to be a freeze. So I hope, and so these are all the signs.
You came out, though, you guys came out with a report just a week or so ago, I think,
yes.
That 800 new starts,
yes.
New housing units, over and above the 2,500 that we were told were going to be the sort of the interim freeze, but finished 2,500 and not counting East Jerusalem, an additional 800. What's the point? Are they serious? Are they not serious? Are they sort of pushing limits? Are they like spoiled children trying to see how far they can get before they actually end up getting the whip cracked?
All of the above. I mean, it's very unfortunate to see that what, in my view, is Israeli interest to stop investing in the settlements, where in a place where we will, in the end, will have to go out of and keeping ourselves deeper in the trouble. However, again, there's always a bright side that you can find in this, and the thing is that the settlers they know that this government did not allow any new plan. Okay, I know it's not enough because there are so many plans that are already been approved that they can build thousands of housing units, but the settlers are now in sort of panic to get the start of a construction, so that when the freeze will start, then they will have it already started. So it will not be included in the freeze.
Do we have a map? I think we do. I want to put it up on the screen and take a look and see where we are. Here's the map on the screen of what we're talking about. These are the areas that are either settled or off limits.
Yes.
And you've got about half the roads are Jewish-only roads, in the West Bank, and the settlements and the roads cut the territories into little pieces. The question I have, and I want to keep the picture up there, is that, you know, several administrations have talked about the legitimacy of settlements. That they're not, and this administration does too. But then they also talk now about accepting realities as they are. Can you accept those realities and still have peace, or does there have to not only be a freeze but a rollback?
I believe that this is in the hands of the agreement. I mean, I cannot pre-rule and say, this is a fact of the ground the Palestinians must accept. This is not sincere negotiations for peace. But I believe, and I hope, that there are some adjustments that are possible that can be agreed upon. And for every inch that Israel would want to annex from the West Bank, Israel will have to pay with another inch from its own land to the Palestinians. This is a possible and plausible thing to do. And if it's not agreed, then we will have to roll back. But I believe this is possible.
Let me see if we can get a couple calls in. If you have a question for Hagit, the numbers are on the screen. I'll read them out quick. 001-202-842-5056 from overseas, and here in the States, 1-800-528-2090. You've talked a couple times about the settlers panicking, about the settlers being in upset about this, that. How worried are you, and how worried should people be that were there a freeze, were there a rollback, were there an agreement, that the settler movement, when pushed, segments of it would erupt in violence? It's a pretty strong and a pretty well-armed group of people.
This is a very serious concern. Unfortunately, we already see violence by those groups, especially against Palestinians, but not only. And I think there is a possibility to restrain them more. The police and the Israeli army can try harder, but the context that things are now being perceived is a context of a war between Israelis and Palestinians, and the army will always be on the sides of the Israelis, like automatically. Although sometimes the attacker is the Israeli, and they need to restrain them. Let me get a real quick
question in from Wisconsin. Caller? Hello? Hello? Okay, we're not going to get that caller in. A question. Yeah. You go out into the West Bank and you do work that is ultimately quite devastating to the line of the government. I mean, they say we're not doing it, and you guys go out and say the outposts weren't removed, or new outposts have been built, they've paved roads to the outposts, etc. Are you at risk? Do you feel nervous?
I don't feel the risk. I don't feel nervous. Yeah. Although I have my family to remind me that they're worried.
Yeah.
It's still, I feel the limits of the democratic debate in Israel is still giving us a place, and it's not only me personally that get attacked. It's whoever will be with this kind of activity. And however, we represent much wider groups, maybe now less loud. So, of course, when I'm going to their territories and enter a settlement, for them I'm the enemy. So I'm sometimes flattered, because this means I make a difference.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us, and thanks for the work you do. If you want to know more about the work she does, you can. The website is peacenow.org.il. Yes. peacenow.org.il, or you can go to just peacenow.org. You can get there too from there. I want to thank all of you for joining us. The calls that we didn't get to, I'm sorry. I want to thank my guests, John Zogby, Jeremy Ben-Ami, Marcy Kepter, and Hagit Ofran. See you next week on Viewpoint. Thanks.